Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to Kennesaw Happenings. We're at Overture, our 55 and older community. And in the studio, we have a couple, but you're going to hear from Kay Morgan, who's going to just give you a little insight of what's coming up in the next few months. And I'm going to let Kay introduce herself, who she is, what she does, and who she serves.
I'm Kay Morgan, and I am a candidate for Cobb County Commission Chair. The election will be next November, and I intend to win. I have always been a servant. I've always had a servant's heart. I volunteer constantly to the point of where my husband sometimes goes, sit on your hands. Please don't raise your hands again. But I love to serve people. I love people. And I like to make everybody's life a little bit better. And that's what I intend to do.
Well, that's refreshing to hear, because I will say that's not the norm of our political system today. But if you're not a servant, you shouldn't get into politics. But a lot of people get in for the wrong reason. So why did you decide to run and serve at this capacity?
Right. I have never run for politics before, a political office before. I was just motivated. I see just a huge lack of transparency. And there's a lot of, I don't know, I want to say conflict. Too much conflict going on when it's always the majority seems to be pushing for their agenda, which doesn't really seem to fit the agenda of the rest of the Cobb citizens. I think that instead of pushing your own agenda, you need to step back, find out what the citizens of Cobb want and need. That then becomes your agenda. So I don't want to further my own causes.
Yes.
This is as high as I aspire. I do not aspire to higher office. I want to serve my community. I've lived here for over 4 decades, so clearly I love it here.
Well, we have Josette Fryer, who has the Community Leader podcast, who's now our new community leader here. She said the same thing. I mean, in different words.
Right.
And I think we talked before we went on the air, and we were talking about, as we were walking up the community and your mom and what she's transitioning through. Tell our viewers, like, I love when you said first you went with your mom to breakfast. Right. Now she can't get enough of the community. Right. Just tell our viewers a little bit of that transition or that story.
My parents married right after World War II. My dad got back from service. He was greatest generation. He actually served the Battle of the Bulge in the Super Six, so I'm very proud of that man. They bought a house. That is the house they remained in the rest of his life. And my mother was in there, but it got to where all of her friends were gone and she had no company. I started worrying about her. She was isolated. So I lured her over to several different retirement homes. She walks into one, Celebration Village in Ackworth, and goes, oh, this feels like home. I said, sign me up. This is where you're coming. And I told, we won't sell a house. We'll give you 6 months. And if you hate it, I'll bring you back home, which wasn't really true, but it helped get her there.
Absolutely.
So to transition her, she wasn't used to crowds of people and going to activities and things. I went over there a lot. I ate lunch with her a lot, sometimes breakfast. But I did hire then a caregiver to go get her every single morning and bring her down to breakfast and sit her at different tables, introduce her around, bring her down for activities. And now you can't keep that woman in her room. And she's 93 years old, mind you. So she goes to beading class, art class, exercise class. It's wonderful.
It is so, I love that story. My mom's 94, has lived in a house. And I tell my sisters, I say, all her friends, Bunko, Bridge, Lunch, have passed away. Not all of them, but majority of them. So you're faced with the challenge of, what do you do? Now, you carried your mom to the facility, not carried her, but you brought her to the facility around and got her a chance to get acclimated and helped her by escorting her down, introducing to people, because when you move into a facility like this, you see 100 people, and you're of age where even at 25, you walk into a strange place. You got to remember all these names. You got to build new relationships. It's overwhelming.
Right. And you've got to break into the cliques that are already there.
Yes.
People have already formed relationships, and you've got to kind of find out which one that you fit in. So, yeah, it's hard. So I wanted to make that transition as easy as I could.
Well, could I hire you to fly to Richmond and work with my daughter, not my daughters, my sisters? Because I have seen in a period of time, just the cognitive,
Yes.
the nature, because, you ask them questions, you're talking about it. If they're not engaged with people, then that starts to decline.
It does.
And so relationships, community are so important as we get older to really have those new relationships, which they are, because like you said, your caregiver introduced her to all those different people. That's exactly how I'd like the journey to be here is don't come in here alone and have to figure it all out.
Right.
Be in a position now that what you said, you don't have to escort her to breakfast. She wants to go because she has relationships. What kind of activities does she do over there?
Oh, they have beading class where they make earrings and bracelets. They have movie nights. They have Bible study. They have bingo, a lot of bingo, all kinds of things like that. So it's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And that's part of the community concept is giving them ways to plug in with their friends and do activities that keep them sharp in every area, because the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose, right.
So let's get back to the political area.
Right.
I love that you have never been in politics. I have a kind of a desire that because I think, this is my personal opinion, if we look at our current president, he's been in politics for 100 years.
And never made anything happen.
Exactly. And so what happens in 100 years? Everybody's in your ear, buying this for you. So you can't be objective because you've had to raise support all those years and you don't know business. No. You do. So tell our viewers what you have done the last 5 or 10 years.
Well, I'll tell you, just started out as a banker, a trust company bank. Actually Peachtree Bank. And then, banks keep getting bought. So I was a banker for 10 years, ended up as a vice president, branch manager. And at the same time, basically, we were starting a small software company. It grew to the point where it made no sense for me to work outside of that company anymore. So I left that job and went on with him. And we ran that software company for about 30 years. And then you experience a little burnout. And now we're real estate agents, which we absolutely love because, again, we're serving the community.
Yes.
I look at that as a dear service. It's a happy job. You find somebody a house, they're happy. You sell their house, they're happy. So it's a happy job and we just absolutely love it. And I'm just going to continue to use that spirit to help lead and guide the county.
And I think, just this is my opinion, because I'm obviously not a realtor, but you have to have a servant heart to really deal with people.
Yes.
And if you don't, I think it's a mismatch. So tell our viewers, like you mentioned, I love the thing, like your husband, Mark, would say, sit on your hands, don't volunteer. That really says the kind of attitude about serving. Give our viewers like an idea of where you have found joy in serving.
I think probably the preeminent place that I pay my civic dues is the Kiwanis Club of Marietta. We're one of the largest clubs in the world. And I don't know if you've seen the flags that go out all over Marietta. Well, that's my club that puts those out.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We've hosted the Veterans Day Parade for many years in a row. We do so much for the kids. Our club is focused on children and improving their lives in the schools. We work a lot in the schools. We have different little clubs within the schools and we read to the kids, just all kinds. We raise a lot of money to give back to the schools and the community and different nonprofits. The other place I love is Center for Family Resources. That is just so near and dear to my heart. I love the place. They are all servant leaders there. They work with the community. They actually help people prevent homelessness. Instead of waiting till the disaster of homelessness is there, they want to work with you to prevent that. So I think that's just a worthy mission, and many others.
Yeah,
youth service at church. There's many others, but those are my main ones.
I love the civic organizations like Kiwanis, Rotary, because it does give you a diverse areas of service.
It does.
Because like if you join one specific one, let's just say Must Ministry, we had them on our show. You're serving that one ministry, which is a great one.
Well, it is. I've volunteered there many times. I was on their marketing committee for years. So.
But I think what I want our viewers to see, because I was in Rotary for 4 or 5 years, I kind of understood how they're serving in so many areas of the community, because it's all about the community.
All about the
community.
So
people will go to the Kiwanis and say, "Hey, look, I have this kind of nonprofit. Is there an opportunity to speak or talk to?" And so all of a sudden you hear this person's vision, you go, "Wow, this is somebody we can get behind." And then your Kiwanis rallies based on their priorities to really put that service opportunity in front of the community.
Right. Missy Owen from the Zone came to us and said, "We want to hand out Narcan at all the Friday night football games. We need money. Can you help us fund that?" And we're like, "Of course we can. It's about the kids. We want to keep them safe." So we helped fund that. That's just the latest thing we've done outside of our main missions of the Flag Project and the schools. We just really want to serve.
Yeah, I mean, I know Mark and yourself for a number of years, and so I have a little bit of understanding of what y'all have done. Give our viewers, I love that you've never been in politics. I love that you're bringing a fresh approach to serving the community. So I know we don't have magic wands, but if we did, and we're looking at November 5th, and you're elected the next Cobb County Commissioner Chair, what would be like your top couple priorities that you'd like to, provide for our county?
I would like to provide openness and transparency. I think that is just a moral obligation of any politician, no matter what position or what party. There needs to be an open and transparent, because there's a reason they call us public servants. We are supposed to serve our constituents. And that's what needs to be done. Again, not furthering our own personal agenda, which again, I don't have one. I'm formulating my agenda based upon feedback from the community. So I would like to see that happen first and foremost. And I would like to see the commission start to work as one.
I love it. Now, I'm not into details, and I think you don't need details. You need philosophy and vision.
Correct.
And that's obvious you have it. So I always like to challenge people on the podcast. Would you come back on a regular basis to give our viewers an idea of what you're learning and listening and hearing? And that helps us understand that what you just said, the transparency, the openness, having people work together, I call that the foundation.
Right.
And as you're learning things and meeting people and listening to the needs of our county, you're formulating specific priorities, I'm sure, because I know your business success. I know Mark from way back. So you think like a business person, but you serve like a nonprofit person. So what would you say, how has Mark supported you, or what is his role in this?
Well, we've been married a long time, and for almost most of our marriage, we have worked together as a team. So right now we are a team. He is my number one supporter. Check his name tag, it says so. He is in my corner always, and he gets out in the community, and he's my eyes and ears when I can't be everywhere.
Right.
So between the two of us, we can cover some pretty good territory.
Yeah, and it was really great. I'll tell our viewers this, because we touched on it for a second before. So I hadn't seen Mark in maybe a year or something. So we're talking at the Kennesaw Business Association. After we're talking, he asked what I was doing. And so I told him, and so he said, "Hey, did you know Kay is running for the Cobb County Commissioner Chair?" I said, "No." And so then I said, "Would you think she would like to be a guest on the podcast?" Well, he passed your information on to you. You called me the next day. That's what I call decisive.
Well, who gives up that opportunity?
Well, no, I will have to answer a lot of people because just before this show, we had somebody that was supposed to be on. They didn't show.
Oh, my.
So I share the same thoughts as you do. I can't understand. I didn't say, Mark, it'll cost you $1,000 to get on the podcast. Right. I didn't say that there was a fee. I want to bring your vision, your ideas, what you want to do to our community. But this guy, I won't name the business, is right next door. Our residents can walk there. Wow. And he no shows and doesn't even text me because I sent him the same email I sent you. And I said, I wish you would come a couple minutes early because it's a tight schedule today, and never heard anything from him. So to answer your question, who wouldn't take advantage of that? People are people, well, Yeah. And I think that speaks to a person that's decisive, that really wants to share a vision of where you want to do, because we're so used to the same politicians year after year, and you get comfortable in that position. I'm not knocking it. It makes sense. If everybody's catering to you, don't we like that? Yeah.
I suppose we do.
Yeah, we do. It's just human nature. Yeah, it's human nature that somebody's saying, hey, Kay, you want to come and do this? Of course, we love that attention. Right. But we have to balance servant heart with the needs of ourselves.
We do.
And I think, if we want our own ego inflated, it's a good place to hang out, because you're going to get your ego inflated.
Well, believe me, running for office does not help to inflate your ego.
No.
It is a very tough thing to do. But I'm willing to step up because in my conscience, it would not let her our current chairman run unopposed.
Yeah. That is good. And sorry about that. I knew I usually turn this thing off, but
that's today's world.
Commercial break. No, we don't have a commercial.
There's always something beeping in the
Yes.
Everywhere you go these days, you
totally.
Don't even hear it anymore.
Yeah, we're definitely. So as we wind down, I don't remember if you said you'll come back.
I'd be delighted to come back.
Okay. All right. So viewers, we're going to hear more of Kay's journey to be the next Cobb County Commissioner Chair in a regular basis, because every day you're going to be learning things.
I am.
And the fresh approach to your vision of where you'd like to take it, we would love to hear it. So Absolutely. We'll definitely give you a platform. Tell our listeners how they would get a hold of you and how can they support you.
Yes, you can go to k4cobbchair.com and you can sign up to be on my volunteer team. And of course you can donate. It's going to take a lot of money for this campaign.
Right.
But my bio is also on the website. And I'm going to also start posting daily blog posts very soon.
Awesome.
So keep up with me there.
That's
KayForCobbchair.com.
And for our listeners that are driving in Atlanta traffic, don't stop and write while you're driving.
Please be safe.
Be safe. In the show notes, we'll have all Kay's information. So just look below and you'll see how you can support her, help her, provide, because you don't get elected by, just yourself. It's the community support that sees where things are going to, go in a different direction. And obviously a fresh approach is a good approach. So we always ask you, what is one thing you would want our viewers to take away from this podcast?
I think that everyone in this community moved here for a reason. They moved here because they wanted to live this suburban lifestyle. We don't want to be a big city. We love where we live. We chose it. Mm-hmm. Most people chose it. There are some that were born here, but they also chose to stay here. Mm-hmm. So let's keep our community the way it is, while we still will have continued growth, because people do want to come here. They want to come here. I was attracted to here over 40 years ago, and I've never left. Mm-hmm. But I would like to keep it engaged so that we are deciding ourselves what we want to become. as we move forward,
Mhm.
because we can never stay where we are exactly. We will continue to move forward, but let's make sure it's forward in a way that is constructive and that we all will make us happy in our community.
Awesome. Man, I love that. So we'll quote that and put that in something. I know RJ Patel's coming up next. And so he had some pictures he sent me that were absolutely beautiful. And I said, can I use them to put quotes on there? And he said, absolutely. So I think we have a quote for one of his beautiful pictures.
Oh, wonderful. That's great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kay. We appreciate you taking the time to come and share with us what we have to look forward to in Cobb County.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.